I'll just replay.
Thank you all for joining us today. This is a very special day. It's not that often as Dean to introduce two of our very fine students who wrote a book. Makes us very proud. Today's event is sponsored by me. So help yourself to the food, and also Enrique's mom brought some food too. So, and I'm sure it's great food. So help yourself to the food. This is a very special day. I have to tell you, when I met with Enrique and group, and they indicated to me their accomplishment, this book, How to Prepare for the Boards, the Medical Boards. I was very impressed with their work. They work very hard. They work with Dr. Kruger. They work with other individuals here. They had communication with the National Board, etc. They put a lot of time and effort into this because they wanted to help those students coming behind them, coming after them, so they could better be prepared to take the boards. Being successful with the boards is important because it's the boards that really enable us as physicians to become licensed. So it's a very important and necessary step. And it's not an easy step to take, and they went through a number of challenges themselves, so they said, we're going to make it easier for the students behind us. So we're very, very proud of them. So welcome to this. A very special event today. Two of our own fourth-year students, Enrique Adesina and Baruch Taha, who really have written this book. I'm very proud to say I'm the owner of a copy that's signed by both of our students here. Let me say a little bit about each of them. Enrique Adesina has served on the UMDNJ SOM Admission Committee Advisory Board. He's a member of the Student National Medical Association. He served as a student mentor in Project REACH for the Camden students there. He's the recipient of the Nahum Scholarship for the first year. Quite a few accomplishments. For Farouk. Taha is a vice president of the Student Osteopathic Internal Medicine Association. He won first place in the student case competition for the American College of Osteopathic Emergency Medicine, and he's a recipient of the Dr. Haddad Scholarship for the first year. Both students have been nominated and inducted into the Gold Humanism Honor Society, very special honor society that honors students and faculty who really bring humanism in medicine. It's quite an honor to be in them. They both presented a case report poster presentation on a Visar mask post-laparoscopic robotic surgery. They are the founder and co-founder of the Future Teaching Physicians and online community. They published Medscape articles on tips for surviving medical school and 10 unwritten rules about the third year. So you can see they've done quite a bit in many venues. Their book, published this fall, is entitled How to Prepare for the Medical Boards: Secrets for Success on USMLE Step 1 and COMLEX Level 1. Adelike and Farouk were inspired to write this book after their experience preparing for the boards, having felt that there was more information needed to be pulled together to help other students. This book will help all medical students learn how to create a study plan for major topics tested, as well as a suggested approach to reading and making mental notes as well. The book also helps medical students discover the secrets, learn the rules, and avoid common costly mistakes when preparing for the medical boards. Another key feature of the book includes tips on how to survive medical school. I am really very pleased to say that both Adelike and Farouk will have signed copies available right after this to be purchased. And also, a portion of today's sales for the proceeds will actually be donated to the Camden Saturday Health Clinic. Just another example of their commitment to healthcare and helping people. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our own Adelike Edesina and Farouk Taha.
Thank you everybody for coming here today. It's a pleasure to see everyone here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come in.
So thank you guys for coming. Thank you Dean Cavalier for this warm introduction and for sponsoring this event for us. And thanks Dean Mishishi and Shauna for helping us with this whole event. So we're just going to tell you a little bit about us, tell you about the book, and we're going to have Raffle at the end. But before we start, we need to do some acknowledgements.
So first of all, we want to thank God and Almighty God for His wisdom He's bestowed upon us as students. We started first year event, we should have no idea being in this spot just like we were just able to see a few years ago. And we just want to thank God for all these opportunities and us to be able to fulfill these hard times. We also want to thank our families, my dad and my mom, and my brothers that were supportive for experiencing what we're making the event today. And without them and all the prayers and support and some of our other family members and church members that are here today. We want to thank them for coming out. Thank you very much.
Okay, and we would also like to thank our former academic dean, Paul Kruger, for helping us. He took a lot of his time to review the book one time after the other. He helped us contact the NBME and the NDOME and to make sure we're not violating any rules or regulations when we're writing this book. And he gave us a lot of tips about the book, which I'll get into a little bit later. We'd also like to thank Dr. White, who's a neuroscience instructor in our school. He helped us review the book. Dr. Barone from Pathology Kaplan. He also reviewed the book for us and gave us tips and advice. Dr. Stephen Agabeji, who wrote the book Step Up to Medicine. He was one of our people who inspired us because he wrote his book during the third year. He started writing during third year medical school. And that's when we were inspired. He helped us and reviewed the book for us. And I'd also like to thank Fumi Johnson, who's at the Lake of New York. She's not here today, but she helped us a lot with the process. She kept reviewing it for us and fixing all the grammar because we're both immigrants pretty much.
So we're gonna start with a quote. I think this is one of the most important quotes I've seen a lot, but this kind of struck me a bit, kind of defines why we're here today. Success does not go to those who have the genius and the natural talent for knowledge, but to those who are willing to put enough time and effort. Enough time and effort. Actually, more important, I say that one more time. Enough time and effort to realize their goal. It's right somewhat anonymous, but this code really summarizes all the hard work and persistence we put in to get this whole process together. So we're going to talk a little about us. Give a little spiel about us. I'm just going to give you a little summary. My name is Adiliki Adesina. I'm originally from Nigeria. I did my high school over there and ventured into the United States in search for a better place and looking forward to become a physician. I attended Raffle college and there was a double major in biochemistry and general biology. After that, I got accepted here, and I'm a fourth-year medical student now. I'm looking forward to graduation. Trust me. And my career interest, I hope to match in emergency medicine. We have a fun fact about me. I'm a good cook.
Okay, so I'm Farouk. I'm half Jordanian, Palestinian, Lebanese, all that stuff. And I went to Stony Brook University in Long Island, New York. I'm a fourth year at SYM. I'm also interested in emergency medicine. Hopefully I match somewhere in New York because I'm not a big fan of New Jersey. Sorry, not Beverly. And fun fact about me, I play soccer, I'm a goalie, and I don't cook like I do, I just eat. That's fun.
I could cook for you too. So why are we here today? This whole project started with an idea, and it's also started with a phone call. So at the end of pediatric rotation last year, I go through my Step Up to Medicine book, and I look at the first page, and lo and behold, thinking I got me the road with this preface, I read this book in my third year medical school. I'm like, wow, look at that. I can write one. So I started typing out about 5 pages, and I said, I need to find somebody who has the same work ethic that I do, who's very hardworking, who I know that's very disciplined, that I can actually count on. And I called Farouk, and Farouk, what happened?
So a lot of you maybe don't know Adiliki is very ambitious. He gets these ideas at certain times of the day, and he just comes to call me and tells me stuff. So this was a Saturday and in decent time in the morning, wasn't too early. He's like, Farouk, I'm gonna write a book. So I'm like, sure, okay. So I rolled my eyes, and then he's like, no, just hear me out. This book is gonna help a lot of people. There's tons of review books out there that has content for COMLEX and USMLE, but nothing out there tells you how to put all the sources together and study. How can you use all the sources you have to do well on COMLEX and USMLE? So he sent me the 5 pages that you wrote, and I thought that was legit. I agreed to be part of it, and we started writing. So everybody started writing individually, and then after a week, we kind of put everything we have together and realized, all right, this is already 10 pages single space. So like the double spacing became 15 pages. So we started meeting every Friday and Saturday of third year. Now this was in September, and then we really meet every Friday and Saturday until pretty much March or April. Now, third year is not as bad as first and second year, but still a lot of work. So to me, to dedicate every Friday and Saturday to do this was a lot of work. And a lot of Chinese food, and a lot of MSG. And so it started becoming more like an actual book. We started making chapters, we started making margins and all that. That's when we started meeting with Dr. Kruger, who gave us tons of advice and reminded us we need to contact NBME and NBOME to make sure we're not violating any rules, because this is a hot topic. And we contacted all Dr. White, Dr. Barone, all the other people. And then we found a publisher, iUniverse, and the process kept going and growing. And thank God, today it's a book. I can't tell you, looking back at it, it was 8 months of hard work, but it was definitely worth it. We'll tell you more about that.
So, to summarize Farouk's summary, to give you a summary, basically, I say hard work and teamwork was the most important thing. We were dedicated, we were going to look out for every single medical student who has to go through what we had to go through, and we had to go out there and visit the fake information. You go to student.net, you talk to every medical student about you, and they give you some information. Very hard. It's kind of bring it all together. But we found the geniuses that have done really well on top of their brains, and we were able to compile this information into book format, so you don't have to go out there and ask too much questions anymore. And one success left to another, we're able to publish landscape articles. And this was a summary of the process. To give it an idea. And I always realize in life, you can become anything. You can do anything. To start with an idea, he gave me a lot of ideas. He told me, you should publish a case report. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So started with an idea, I said we should write a book. And here we go, we had a mission. We wanted to finish this book before we started the residency. Most importantly, before we actually went on interviews. And it became a project, and today it's become an accomplishment, and it's an achievement, and we're here to celebrate today. So what's the reality of life? This book is a very small book. It's about 100 pages long. You can read it in 2 hours. The interesting part of it is it's very deceiving. Every single line of this book is so important you have to read it 3 times. And never before has so many known so little about so much. Because if you have to compile all the work we put in to get this like reports to do well, it's 100 pages. You really underestimate it. So it's very important that you understand this quote is saying a lot, that people don't know how the USMLE, the COMLEX exam, how challenging they are, and how much information it is, but this definitely will never be able to cover it. And that's what's written by Z-Dog and B, one of the physicians in California and internists. So what's the purpose of our book? The purpose of the book, as you can see, we have a little bell curve here. On the left-hand side, you can see is the red line, and we do not want you to be in the red line. We don't even pray you to get close to the red line, because people read that. We don't want you to fail basically. To pass the COMLEX, you need 400. And to pass the USMLE, you need to score 189. Now, if you score 399, that is not good. If you get a 400, you just pass. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to set whatever your goal is. If you look at that triangle right in the corner there, some people just want to pass this exam. This is very challenging. We understand that. And we're going to do to get you there. If you just want to pass, we're able to also take into the average score about using this advice and tips. And we can get you excellent. So most people either fall in the average range, and if you're already in that zone, reading this book will give you extra tips to get you into the green zone, which is like a 90% on your exam. And I think that's great. I know what you agree with me. And that's why. And on the left-hand side of the corner, you see a wedding picture. It's the reason why it's there. Boards is like a wedding. Everything has to be perfect. The cameraman has to be there, right? The food has to be right. Like the wedding bride dance has to be right, right? You're not going to show up and like, oh, the bride is not right. No. So think of that as boards. You look at one shot at it. If you're going to do it once, do it right. And we're here to write a book that's going to give you that perspective so that that day you're going to feel more confident that you're supposed to be.
Okay, so what are the highlights of the book? First of all, is this book right for you? I think the answer is yes. It's right for every medical student. I'm not just saying that because it's my book and I'm trying to sell, but the reality is we use this method to study, which we describe in the book. Me and Adeleke did very well in both USMLE and COMLEX. For you who don't know, COMLEX and USMLE are very different exams. If you're trying to take both, well, for us, for DOS students, we have to take COMLEX to graduate. And you have to take COMLEX and pass it. But some of us want to go to an allopathic residency for whatever reason you have. And the doors are open as long as you have the USMLE scores. They used to be, or some programs, depends on the residency, I'm not going to go into that, but some programs will welcome COMLEX scores. More competitive programs, more competitive residencies will want to see USMLE scores. So this book, this method, we tried it, worked for us. Our friends in our class tried it, worked for them. Some of you, the third years upperclassmen, they tried it and it worked for them. So here's, they agreed to let me show their names, Yusuf Hamde and David DiCaprio. Those are third years who use our method. Yusuf wants to do anesthesia, David wants to do ENT. They both did very well in both exams. They both used our method. And student X, they want to use their name, but they're sitting amongst you now. So what do you need to know about this? Oh, and one more thing. I've been on 6 or 7 interviews so far. Every single interview I walk into, my application is open, my board scores are highlighted, and that's the only thing we talk about, my board scores. They're impressed with it. They can't believe, oh, how did you study, blah, blah. So a lot of people tell you, oh, it's not just about board scores. The truth is, a big part of it is about board scores. You need to do well. You can't do less than average and then show up there with all the extracurricular stuff. Everything's, every case is different, but board scores are big. At least they're going to help you if anything. So what else is the book including? It talks about how to use first aid. A lot of people have the idea that if you just study first aid, you'll be fine. Unfortunately, as you might have noticed, first aid is very summarized. It doesn't have all the details you need to know. So we talked about how to use the questions. study the wrong answers, correct answers. Make your first aid your book of study so that by April maximum before your boards, the only book you're using is first aid. Our first aid went from, the way you buy it is nice and clean, and then we open it up by Staples, now it looks like this. And that's how it should look like by April, and that's what you should study for your boards. And we included a board schedule. This is very important. We didn't find any schedules online when we tried to find schedules how to study. So we designed a schedule where first you can sleep 8 hours a day. I guarantee nobody's gonna let you sleep 8 hours a day. Our schedule will let you sleep 8 hours, have an hour lunch break, and an hour dinner break. That's awesome. So that's 10 hours, right? And remaining 14 hours are for study. But we work it very nicely. You can do basically 3-4 hour blocks, or give and take, and you're able to do questions and study every day. So the method is very nice, and it fits everybody. You can change it however you want. The skeleton is there, it's going to help anybody. And then the other section that we talked about is USMLE or not. That's what, when we sat with Dr. Kruger, took his advice since he knows more about this. And we kind of came up with a list of which group people needs to take the USMLE, because it's not for everybody. A lot of people take it, they say, oh, worst case, I just don't do well. No, that can close a lot of doors for you. So you make sure that you need to take it, and if you need to take it, make sure you need to do well. Because as a DO student, if you took USMLE, that's what they're going to look at, and I'll back to presidency, and they better be able to score. And the last chapter that took us about the medical school, that's more for first year, for anybody, honestly. And this was the article, one of the articles that got published in Medscape. I just forgot to thank the people who were helping us in the back, Shaquille, Usman, Ray, and Justin, and Sonia. And then we forgot to mention Ms. Jacobi, who helped us actually contribute the whole chapter to our book. We mentioned it in the book.
So what are our current and future plans? I think we'll kind of summarize the book in a really precise way. Honestly, it's the most unbiased information you're going to get out there. And to be honest, it's if you stick to it and you actually do exactly what it is, and we're not going to lie to you, it's very hard. So let me put that out there so you know that you're going to put in a lot of work, but in the end, it's all going to be worth it. So we have current and future plans. Right now, we have a website called Future Teaching Physicians. We have our partner in that. It's an online company. The company actually, we started it, and we make online videos. Guess what? I really love to teach, so I make medical videos on YouTube. We have over 300,000 viewers right now, about 1,000 members on our website, and people also go on there every day to watch these videos and all the podcasts and notices and all this stuff you guys learn in class. They have no idea what you're reading, just memorizing it. I've actually broken it down into the most simplest way you can possibly understand. We're also working on the second edition of the book coming out soon, hopefully, and also we're working on the HMP book for medical students, because when you go to your third year, you just have no idea what to do. So we make a book for you so that when you walk in, you have to think of history of physical and do a little talking about it. And we work with donations to support our project. So today,
we're gonna give away 2 books, but we're gonna basically put up questions. We're gonna use the Raffle ticket, and we're gonna pick the first person. We're gonna put a question, and then if you can't answer it, you can use one of your friends to help you out. But we only got the answers. And then we're gonna do the same thing for another book, and then we're gonna be sitting and we'll just have at the end we're gonna sit in the back and we'll be selling the books and all that. Just to mention again, 10% of all the money is going to go to Camden Clinic, who does a lot of effort in our community. We appreciate their help. We thank them for all the work they do on weekends. And I encourage all of you to participate. If you have a weekend on a Saturday, go to the Camden Clinic. It's a great learning experience. And that will start.
so please don't yell out the answers. The question I looked at hard. I think that's what it is. So we're going to put just a random ticket. Alright, so we'll call a ticket number. We're going to come up here. You're going to get a chance to win a book. We have to answer the questions. Now here's how it works. We got a minute to answer the question. If you don't know, we got one life. You can call your friend in Cambodia or Australia.
664.
Bring it. A 32-year-old construction worker arrives in the emergency department, which is where I work. After an accident on the job, his X-ray shows a fracture of the shaft of the humerus. Which of the following structures is most likely to be injured? Time is ticking. Take your time. Please do it all, yes. Oh, just pick one first. What do you want to say? A, she said to break your artery. Sorry. You got one lifeline. Somebody can volunteer something. You got options.
Rami.
Stand up and tell her.
What was the answer that you just said?
I said brachial.
I think it's E, radial nerve.
All right, got it. Excellent. Congratulations. All right. That wasn't as bad as you think, was it? It's funny, the answers I was always in the crowd. Next winner is 739-685. 739. He doesn't need to take the boards again. Sorry. You need to teach me how to take the boards. All right. Got next contestant. 739-622. Who's that working with? Woo! We got a contestant. It's confirmed. Perfect. What's your name? So we have Barry here. A 24-year-old woman with a history of allergic rhinitis is involved in an automobile accident and sustains a splenic laceration. She undergoes abdominal surgery and is transfused with 4 units of blood of the appropriate ABO and RH type. As the transfusion progresses, she becomes rapidly hypertensive and develops airway edema, consistent with anaphylaxis. Which of the following pre-existing conditions best accounts for these symptoms? Time is ticking.
Is it B?
Okay, he said B. Is that your final answer? Sure. Okay. So his final answer is B. Farouk, what do you think? No. You got a lifeline. The answer is always in the crowd. Somebody's got help. You got to raise your hand. Oh, no. Sorry.
Mark, what do you think? D? You like D?
Answer? All right, excellent. That's the right answer. Woo! bag, free lunch, and free book. So we're gonna open the panel up for questions. If you guys have any questions, I know everybody wants to talk about boards. Can I get your attention for a minute? I'm sorry. I know we're gonna have another panel for 3 hours for second years. We're gonna have another classmates where we can actually sit around and talk about boards. And trust me, 95% of everything you need to know is in the book. We just got to wrap up a few things, show you how our first aid looks, kind of get you more practical and kind of see where we're going, okay? So if you have any questions, you can raise your hands and we're more than willing to answer before we wrap up the show. All right, great. Thank you very much. So, we're going to be sitting at the back. We have other members of students. If Dr. Cavallari, do you have any word? You want to say anything? Okay. If you want to buy a book, you just stand in the back, and we have people selling the book. And if you want an autograph, Farouk and I will be at the back signing the book for you. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. God bless. There's free food at the back, takeaway food right in the corner here, so it's going to help you through lunch. So you might want to stop and grab something, okay? It's a lot of free food.
Do you know how much they are?
Actually, on Amazon we get 10 too.
Yeah. How much is it that they want? $12.95.
Because you know what? These guys are doing exactly what I want to do.
I don't know. I'm gonna buy one and have this.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's on Amazon.
That was the guy that I'm like, this book?
It's like